Hello YouTube, Perrin Lovett here for Prepper News Weekly on this Friday, September 7th, 2018. Already into September. I'm going to keep this one a little short. Thank you for all the views of late. I can't help but notice that traffic is down quite a bit. Seems to correspond to our ceasing to post directly on Facebook, which of course, you being smart people, you're not on Facebook anyway. Why anyone would be on a intentional spying site, a human mind and lifestyle control site, is beyond me. If you're still on there, for God's sake, educate yourself and then delete the account and resist their attempts to draw you back in. They have those. On my blog, I have a guide on exactly how to get rid of your Facebook account. And you don't just delete it right off the bat. You need to look at your information file and see what they will show you about what they know about you, and I guarantee you would be astounded. But like I said, you, my viewer here, you're probably not on Facebook anyway. The socials are back in the news again. We had the most if you're a political guru, and I know the Facebook group people, politics and religion don't matter. We don't need that. So I'm sure that's not you. By the way, those are the anti-political, anti-religious preppers who are on Facebook, the most invasive spy tool ever created. But if you are into politics, we had the most wonderful circus performance all this week. Probably some of the funniest stuff that I have ever seen in my life. We had the screaming, screeching, ridiculous show trial hearing in the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation, and not to be outdone, in another committee, I think Jack Dorsey from Twitter was testifying. I guess we'll call it testimony. He was up there speaking with members of Congress. Laura Loomer, a conservative media personality, stood up and heckled the guest, asked him when her count was going to be unsuspended, re-verified, and that's when the guy from we'll say Texas started the auctioneer bit. Talking over her, trying to auction off her cell phone camera. It was hilarious. It was sad. It was sad. It recalled in my mind the recounting of Tacitus, of Emperor Tiberius's visit to his hobby of visiting the Roman Senate, whereupon he would watch the shenanigans, laugh, and then declare Nisti Servitus before he left. That, of course, meaning men fit for slavery. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. And then, then Alex Jones descended upon Capitol Hill, and I put out a link about his quest to preserve the First Amendment. He wreaked havoc on hearings with individual congressmen and senators, other members of the media, and of course, I think Jack Dorsey was a direct target. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Doesn't really solve anything, but my God, you don't get entertainment like that. And speaking of social media, I just discovered that down here in the lower left-hand corner, or lower right-hand corner as you're looking at the screen, there's a transcripts button. You can actually pull up transcripts. I guess it depends on audio quality, which I'm not famous for. Most videos have them. They're not very accurate, but at least they're there. If you like transcripts, I like to read things more than I like to listen. But we are in the age of post-literacy, and so therefore I do these videos. Videos, social media, television, these things have a certain effect on the average, ordinary human mind, an effect not dissimilar to narcotics. And that's actually one of the angles that they're raising. Hey, these transmissions have a narcotic effect. Maybe we need to regulate social media the way we regulate alcohol and drugs. It almost makes sense. Of course, it's from a libertarian's perspective, it's a nightmare. But in reality, the way things work, everything under the sun being regulated, why not? You actually have a semi-dangerous, potentially dangerous product. Why not regulate it? who knows where this is going? And the craziness just transcends everything, especially in Washington and New York. Some of you I know follow QAnon, which is actually a very, very interesting site, and I have been able to independently verify a few of the things they talk about, particularly something that happened last Thursday evening, a week ago yesterday. The Washington Post tells us that Q is if he even exists, it's an Energy Department agent that's putting out all this fake news, and nobody believes in it. Nobody even knows what it is, although everybody hates it. And if you put any credence, or if you look at any of this in any way, you are obviously you're going to be unpopular. So don't believe in this fake news. But then the New York Times turns around the other day and presents a totally anonymous, unverifiable, and self-contradictory op-ed from some senior executive in the Trump administration, who says that Trump is basically unfit. Although they're not gonna move to get rid of him, because that would be bad. They're just gonna keep handles on him and keep control. This has generated all kinds of speculation. I personally don't think it's real. I think it's an op-ed, a work of fiction. And the Times even had a little disclaimer that said, if you have questions about this op-ed, let us know. We normally don't run stories without sources. Just 90% of the time they do. I almost wanted to ask them, hey, great, I didn't know you guys were doing this. Are you accepting other short works of fiction? And if so, what are your rates? But I don't comment on other people's blogs, and that's really just Carlos Slim's blog now. But it's funny, they tell us, don't believe in Q. Q is obviously fake, anonymous at best, most likely fake. But do believe our totally anonymous and probably fake op-ed, which has generated all kinds of craziness on its own. We've got talk about a 25th Amendment procedure to remove Trump for being unfit. That's going to go about as far as an impeachment effort. And here is my great prepper warning alert of the week. If this does gain traction, if by some chance they were to remove him, it would be a nefarious removal. It would be tantamount to a coup. And I think it would make some situations that are lingering and cold go very hot very fast. And I think you would be looking at a hitting the fan situation that heretofore has been the stuff of prepper fiction. So do keep your eyes on that. I don't think it's going anywhere, but if it does, you need to be ready, because it will not end well. But many things will end well. Life will go on no matter what happens on the Potomac. And it's not just this country. Down in Brazil, you just had the front runner, the hard right presidential candidate, stabbed in the streets by some crazy socialist in a country that Reuters admits has a crime and a violence problem second to none in the world. According to their sources, Brazil has more homicides than any other country. Even though the same people will turn around and tell you that America has the most homicides and the most gun homicides because we need more gun control, like they have in Brazil, which of course leads to the highest rate of homicides in the world. Craziness, just craziness. But it's so much fun. It's almost as much fun as, say, something like football, which is now in full swing. I hope you're having a great season, whoever your team is. If you're not into that, I certainly understand. And I think I've gone long enough here. Got to get this uploaded, see if the transcripts work, and I'll see you back next Friday. There's always so much going on. Thank you for stopping in, and you guys have a great weekend.